Good afternoon, students. It's Mrs. Cinti here, and I am ready to teach you about multiplying and dividing integers. As it turns out, they are both the same. They follow two very nice rules, and so all we'll do is really practice. I'll show you some of the background of it for multiplication, and then I think we can just go crazy with examples. Okay, so looking forward to doing this with you. Okay. If you think about what multiplication means, right? Let's stick with multiplication for right now. This means 4 groups of -3, okay? -3 groups of 4 doesn't really make sense, but this means 4 groups of -3. So if I am on that number line again, look how straight that was, okay? Here I start at 0, but then I have 4 groups of -3. So here's one group of -3. And then there's another group of -3, which brings us to -6. Another group, so this is group 1, 2, another group of -3 brings us to that -9. And then the fourth group of -3 brings us to -12. As it turns out, and that's my answer, right? As it turns out, 4 times 3 happens to be 12, right? So you're discovering the rule just in this one example, okay? If they are opposite signs, if they are different signs, when you're multiplying or dividing different signs, it will always be negative, okay? So unlike signs, this is the big rule, okay? If you can remember this, you are all set for life, basically. Unlike signs, always negative, okay? Always negative. If they are like signs, it is always positive. Always. Negative times a negative, positive. Positive times a positive, positive. Okay? So, say it again. Unlike signs, let's try a highlighter here. Let's highlight in green. Oh, that's not very helpful. Unlike signs, that looks like I'm crossing it out. Never mind, never mind. Sorry about that. So, unlike signs, always negative. Like signs, always positive. Okay, so let's go ahead and do some examples with this in the back of our mind at all times, okay? And I'm not going to highlight anymore. Okay, -3 times a -3. 3 times 3 is 9. Negative times a negative is a positive, so my answer is 9. Let's try another one. -2 times a -10. 10 times 2 is 20. I'm multiplying a negative times a negative, so I have a positive. Let's get tricky. -5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. And then you have to remember a negative times a positive is a negative. Okay? Unlike signs, a negative times a positive or a positive times a negative, always negative. Negative times a negative or a positive times a positive, always positive. Okay? Same thing with division. Exact same thing with division. Okay, let's try division. If I have, let's say, negative, what am I doing? -8 divided by 4. Okay, unlike signs, so 8 divided by 4 is 2, and it's unlike signs here. So, so let's say that, I'm trying to think of how I can tell you this. Never mind. Okay, the opposite of multiplication is division. The opposite of division is multiplication. So if you were to be looking at 4 times a -2, you would get a -8, right? And so if you're undoing that, you're getting the negative sign. Okay, I don't think that was super helpful. Let's look at another example. 12 divided by 3. Tricked ya, just 4. You know, 12 divided by 3 is 4. You knew that already. What if I said a -12 divided by a -3? Same sign, so it's going to be 4. But if I have a -12 divided by 3, I have a -4. Okay, -4. I'm dividing that -4 into 3 groups. I'm dividing that -12 into 3 groups, and so I have 3 groups of -4. That's kind of what it's going through. Okay, So nothing more to add, just you practicing and saying those rules to yourselves over and over and over and over again, okay? Looking forward to seeing you in class, and we can practice this together. Wait. There is one other thing. You may encounter, because this is so straightforward, the book and my questions are going to mess with you a little bit. You may see something like this, a negative 12 absolute value times 2, right? Negative 12, the absolute value of negative 12, again, is asking you how many steps away from 0 is negative 12. The answer is 12 times 2. You get 24, okay? Which is very different, right? 24 is the exact opposite of the right, negative 24 is the exact opposite of 24, which means it's the exact opposite answer, right? It's the totally wrong answer, even though it seems so. On a test or something like that, if you were to do this and say negative 12 times 2 and write negative 24, that's totally wrong, right? It's 100% wrong. It couldn't be more wrong, right? Because it's the opposite of the right answer, which I think is very funny. So anyways, so pay attention to that. So absolute value, again, may be mixed in there. What if you did negative, or what if I did negative 12 times a negative 2, right? What's that going to be? Absolute value of negative 12 is 12 times the absolute value of negative 2 is 2. So your answer is 24. Okay? Okay, that's how I was going to try to mess with you before.